the ripple effects are in terms of how the Bucks are creating the space to make this deal work. However, for the Milwaukee Bucks, the team that, as we just talked about, came into this summer needing to try to show Giannis Antetokounmpo that they have the ability to compete in the Eastern Conference, Myles Turner is a younger, better version of Brook Lopez, who they have just locked up for the next several years. That is a fascinating development, something that comes completely out of left field. It is a huge hit to the Indiana Pacers, who obviously are just coming off this finals run. They are certainly going to take a step back this season between this and the Tyrese Halliburton injury. And this really does pretty dramatically shake up the Eastern Conference standings in a way that, frankly, I did not see coming at all. And we also, in the last few minutes, had Shams report that Gershon Yabusele, who had a very nice year with the Philadelphia 76ers last year, signed with the New York Knicks, giving them the kind of shooter and bench forward scoring that they needed to go with their team. So now they add him and Jordan Clarkson to their roster. They get deeper. They add some more offense off the bench when they at times had trouble with that in the playoffs. A couple nice moves for them. But this Myles Turner thing is a dramatic move in the NBA and one that I don't think anybody could have seen coming.
Look at Tim Bontemps here on set breaking news for us on First Take. I love it. So let's get a little bit more information here on the Myles Turner situation. We were just talking about how the Bucks need to add a center potentially, and they go out and do that. We were talking about how the Knicks need to add some depth, and they go out and do that. And so free agent center Myles Turner has agreed to a 4-year, $107 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, plus a player option for year 4 in 28 and 29, and a full 15% trade kicker. That is what we are hearing from Shams Charania. He also added that Turner is the longest tenured Pacer. He made it known that he wished to remain in Indiana, but since the Game 7 exit, Turner's reps pushed to get a deal done. Ultimately, Indiana's aversion to the tax, which grew after Tyrese Halliburton's injury, allowed the Bucks to now get a new franchise center. And go ahead, DD, you want to react to this?
Yeah, this is surprising. This changes the Eastern Conference functionally as we kind of know it. Like, we see what the Pacers, we knew the Pacers were going to take that step back. We knew the Celtics were not going to be there. But now you have an opening here for Giannis to look at this roster and say, hey, maybe we can make some moves here. Maybe we can do something with me as the best player in the Eastern Conference, with Myles Turner with me, with bringing back some guys, and maybe we can make a couple other moves in the margin to say, hey, let's run this thing back and let me see how far I can carry this team in a depleted conference where the Knicks don't have a coach, where the Cavs are still probably the favorite, but they petered out in the playoffs last year. The Pacers aren't there. The Celtics aren't there. I think this changes the Bucks. I think this changes the Eastern Conference. I'm surprised. I thought Myles Turner was for sure going to go back to Indiana.
What do you think, Windy?
I don't know how they did it. They don't have the salary cap space to do this. So they either made some sort of deal with the Pacers, which would be surprising because the Pacers would have just traded. This is one of their biggest rivals. And I don't know how they did this, quite frankly. They didn't have, first off, 2 other times when they needed Giannis Antetokounmpo to get recommitted, they made major moves. They acquired Drew Holiday, and Giannis extended his contract. They acquired Dame Lillard, Giannis extended his contract. But they were out of draft capital, and they're out of salary cap space. In fact, they signed several players yesterday using various exceptions. I'm not sure how they did it. So that's number one. Number two, this has Lakers ramifications because the Lakers were competing with the Bucks for DeAndre Ayton. And so this leaves DeAndre Ayton to go to the Lakers to be their starting center as a possible ramification of this.
Okay, so Wendy says he's not sure how they did it. Tim's over here taking notes, texting. I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm guessing, and I probably shouldn't guess on live TV, but the only way this makes sense logically from a cap perspective that I can think of, and Bobby Marks called me before, so I couldn't take it, but I'm guessing this involves some sort of a trade involving Kyle Kuzma, who is making around $22 million this season, and that would be the way you could do some sort of a sign and trade and make the money work and get Myles Turner into Milwaukee while not having salary cap space. But look, full credit to John Horst. This is a guy who has aggressively gone out and improved the roster time and time again over the past several years. To Brian's point, they went and got Drew Holiday, they went and got Dame Lillard. Now they've gone and gotten Myles Turner. This is the kind of move that coming into the summer, it did not look like the Bucks are going to be able to do with the limited resources they had at their disposal. Full credit to them for doing it. And we have talked about the Pacers for a while. It's a little different with the Tyrese Halliburton injury, but this is a team that has not paid the luxury tax in decades. I'm not exactly surprised that this went this way after the way the Tyrese Halliburton thing went. We also should point out, I think Myles Turner's market changed once Naz Reid signed a 5-year, $125 million contract. I think that raised the price for Myles Turner, who is a better player than him, a clear starter on a team that went to the NBA Finals. I mean, again, just going back, pulling way back, So the injuries to Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs just fundamentally changed so many things that have happened across the Eastern Conference. We've seen the Celtics get broken up. We've seen Atlanta and Orlando go all in, not all in. Orlando's case all in. Atlanta's made moves to get better because of those injuries. Now we've seen Myles Turner leave the Indiana Pacers in large part because of that injury, allowing the Milwaukee Bucks to strengthen their roster, potentially keep Giannis Antetokounmpo moving forward. All of those things go back to the injury to Jason Tatum in the second round, the injury to Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals, and now we sit here in a much different Eastern Conference than it was at the start of the segment.
Well, my next question was going to be, does this move now keep Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee? What do you guys think?
I think it makes it a better shot. I mean, when you're looking at this, I didn't see the moves before this news came out, the moves that would move the needle, that would make them feel like he could do something in the East. I think this moves them closer to that for sure.
What do you think, Wendy?
Giannis, I believe, is looking for reasons to stay in Milwaukee. That is one of the reasons why he has stepped back and let them go through their process. They didn't just trade for a Hall of Famer here, but they upgraded at his position and undercut and injured the team that is the defending Eastern Conference champions. So if Giannis was looking for a reason to stay in Milwaukee, this is enough of a reason to be excited about coming back, because he was having to play both center and point guard at the end of last season because, at different times. So this is definitely an incredibly strong move. And I don't know if I've ever wanted to know more about how a team pulled something off, because this is fascinating on about 6 different fronts. Again, not that Myles Turner is a perennial all-star, but this is a guy who had played 10 years in Indiana, and the Pacers had a lot of incentive to try to keep him. And frankly, Kyle Kuzma's value, if this is how they got him, is not super high, and his contract is not super attractive. So I am dying to find out how the Bucks pulled this off, and I am extremely impressed that they found a way to do this, and there may be another side of this trade that I haven't found out yet. They don't even have they can't trade any draft assets. So so far, this is one of the more fascinating moves we've seen really in the NBA in the last year, for sure.
When you talk about off-the-board moves, that doesn't begin to describe this trade. This is completely out of the bounds of what anybody was expecting.
Well, as Wendy just pointed out, too, I mean, this is the longest tenured Pacer that was on this roster, and then we're just, weeks removed from the finals, and they go ahead and trade him, and obviously this has a lot to do with Tyrese Halliburton's injury. We've got news breaking left and right here on First Take, so you don't want to go anywhere. Is Dak Prescott, though, feeling the heat in Dallas? We're not on the same page, as usual, for what's at stake for the Cowboys quarterback heading into this season. And then the Lakers.
Cho mình các đơn tương ứng. Ở kiếm thì nên phải quay. Cái vị trí này cũng làm vậy tương tự. Và vậy để cái